And we're back.
We're back. Just like that, we're back. And we're moving into our first segment for the morning. This is why we love it here. It's all about the fun and providing with the information. We've got a conversation coming up, though, with NCFC as they launch their parenting show called Famili. We've got the folks in to tell us all about it. Shakira Sutherland is in, Child Adolescent Participation Officer at NCFC, and Sheena Smith, member, National Parenting Task Force. Wow, it's nice to have you guys, and welcome, and good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Well, no stranger to us, Sheena. But there's a first for everything.
You're right.
So primarily, let's talk about parenting, and it's a very important conversation because as the year goes by, people are out there having children, and some folks might say, "Man, there wasn't a manual. I've learned this just like that by going on and on." Mm-hmm. But is that so? What is parenting? Let's start there.
Parenting is I like to say, art of raising a child or bringing up a child. The reason why I use the terminology art is because when you think about art, you think about uniqueness, and every child is unique. Yeah. So it is very important for us as parents, and I'm saying us because I'm a parent myself, to understand, communicate with each of your children and raise them in the right manner, because not the way that I would raise you would be different from the way that I would raise Marlene, because everybody have a different personality and characteristics. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
and sure. The goal of parenting, and our goal is to ensure that your children have an environment that they can reach their full potential. So we want every child to, experience things and find their way through life. And that's what parenting is, the guide for them. Mm-hmm. And so we try to provide that guide for parents.
Sheena, the fact that there is a national parenting task force is interesting because it shows that there is a priority in this particular area. Yeah. Do you want to explain why and who makes up the task force?
So the task force is primarily made up of civil society members as well as some government agencies. So we have members from the Ministry of Education, we have members from Human Development, we also have NGOs, BFLA, we have
Ministry of
Health.
UNICEF as well.
UNICEF is a big partner and they provide a lot of the funding. And of course, their main focus is on children and their well-being. So we've come together and, our focus is ensuring that we provide resources for parents and that we work with each other to just have children as a priority. So we do work a lot with the children's rights and ensuring that those are, of course, a priority. And seeing ways that we can also encourage fathers to be more part of their children's lives. We don't want to see any more single mothers, or if you are a single mother, that you have the father who is also a huge part of the children's lives, because there is a difference in the way children are raised and how they grow up when they have a father figure in their lives.
Now, it's a tricky thing when you talk about parenting, right? Because everybody's trying to figure it out,
right?
As they go along, but they're not so comfortable being told what they should and shouldn't do. How do you approach this? How do you help people with tips, ideas, guides, science, data that exists to say this is better for your child? How do you do that?
So there is a National Parenting Task Force committee. It started as a committee, and the committee met and therefore created a parental or parenting guide. Mm-hmm. And so this guide is a textbook but can be digital format. So what we do at NCFC, we make sure that we post and showcase this guide. You can find it on our website. You can find it on Instagram and our Facebook page as well. Now, the committee said, let's take it to another level, because you have people that probably would like to read a hard copy of a guide, or they're digital. We're in a digital or technological era. They would go on the internet, computers, tablets, devices, your mobile phone, and you scroll and you're going to read the guide. But now the committee did another level. We take it to another level and we created the Famili parenting show. So for those people that would not like to read, they can watch the show and then they can get information and tips that they can utilize when doing parenting.
Let me ask this. How effective is the guide? You did see the art of raising a child. So how effective is it?
So the guide is effective because it has different pointers and information that showcase different little issues that children and adolescents may come across, and how can parents utilize these to ensure that their children can, be successful, or their well-being is really brought up to par.
And to be honest, it's only as effective as it's used.
Exactly.
So the information is there, and it's research information, proven information, but you have to use it, you have to practice it, and you have to be consistent with it, because it's not a one-off activity. It's something that you have to constantly integrate within your lifestyle.
But Belizeans will always tell you, but this is how I grew up.
Yes.
My parents didn't do this, and I come out good.
Exactly.
Let's counter that.
Right. So if you look at maybe some scientific evidence, and we look at different traumas, because of different experiences that you've had in childhood, it creates the type of person you are today. So you might be an overachiever based on what you were raised to think, or you might be a people pleaser because of how you were raised. So it just depends on what type of interaction you've had as a child to show the type of person you are. So what we're doing is...
Can I add on to that
yes,
as
go
well?
ahead.
Sure.
So I really wanted to say that...
Because you hear it all the time, right?
My ma beat me, or my pa
Yes.
beat me.
Yeah.
So we know that corporal punishment is something that was being done. But however, we as a task force, we decided that we need to implement and reinforce positive discipline.
Yeah.
So positive discipline goes a long way. You don't need to go back in the days where we had, corporal punishment and so on. Positive discipline takes it to a different level, and you have we are in a different era, and the children, they are so much different from back in our days. So that is an area, or that is a whole section of the parenting guide, and it's also showcased in Famili. How you can fix things, or alleviate, or right.
And we've made steps. I mean, let's push that one a bit more, because I know that's always the one that people go, you don't want to be to pick me. But how long has it been since corporal punishment has been removed from the schools? It's been quite a while.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't see riots at schools, teachers are still disciplining, they're still maintaining the functions of the school, and now it's getting it into households. And I always hear exactly what John said, well, we turn out fine.
True.
Well, we have a violent situation in this country, violent crime that takes place, and we taught kids that. We said, okay, somebody hurt you, hurt them back.
Yeah.
Right, and it also reflects when we look at gender-based violence, and there's this saying that we always refer to and say, if you don't beat me, you don't love me. And a lot of times, you say, okay, well, I lash you because X, Y, Z. And as parents, especially if you grew up in that as a rule or as a way of disciplining your family, it's going to be a challenge to wean yourself off of it. But I mean, that's why the guide is there to show you different ways. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect every time, or you have to overlook certain things, and there won't be situations where you will really get angry. But it's how we continuously use positive discipline to rear the children.
And I also feel, and I'm hoping, which I'm sure that with Famili or the National Parenting Task Force are teaching parents how to deal with themselves. And I'll tell you why. The biggest thing right now is actually having tablets take care of children, or having a device take care of a child. Device the babysitter now. So while that's the situation at this particular point, there's so many things on there. And even though we would say we put the parenting part on whereby you're not able to see, but there is an idea. That simply means to me that as a parent, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do to try and show my child the right way. So I need to work on me.
Exactly.
Do we have this with the National Parenting Task Force or with Famili?
So in for Famili, they also speak on internet safety. They talk about ways of that children access and use the internet. But I do agree with you when it comes to parents and taking care of themselves. It's something I think that we need to focus more on, because we're looking at the children, and we don't recognize that sometimes parents have mental health issues, they're going through, they're stressful, they need that break. And so I think we do need to find alternate ways that parents can de-stress and
Yeah.
still have the children as a priority, but also put yourself and your mental health
Right.
first.
And adding on to that is that we do have several episodes that talks about technology, online learning.
Yeah.
It talks about learning online during COVID, COVID-19. It talks about bullying and cyberbullying. So we are still, it's a new show. Of course there is ways that we can, open and add on to these episodes and series.
Yeah.
So that is in our pipeline. And of course, when we touch that area, we're going to come back and we're going to share. But we don't want to get all into details on every episode and topic because we want to leave some for the viewers.
Yeah.
No, the goal, of course, is that parents will watch and learn a lesson from it. And, Shakira, I think you mentioned that while people have been reading it and you've been doing trainings, this is for an audience that this is their preferred method. But from your trainings, what is the reaction that you get from parents when you start to go through the exercises and the lessons of how to be better at parenting?
So for the most part, those who sign up for a parenting class, they have that vested interest. So they want to learn, they want to do better.
Yeah.
So they are interested, they're open to suggestions, and it's our hope that they go back and they try, they implement. So like I said.
On another hand, you're going to notice that you have some parents there as well that have several children, not only one, that they would say, hey, this is new to me, I need to try this. So we could see that parents are there, they're willing to learn, but we know that it is important for us to take it to another level, having different entities, institutions, and all of these different enterprises and institutions and schools to come aboard so that we can utilize this manual to the best of its ability.
And reach those who might not sign up for a
Parenting
class.
session.
Yeah.
And I think the important part of it is for them to actually try to make time to look at it. And I'm going there again.
Right.
Check it out. So because we're in an era with COVID-19, there are a lot of parents who actually lost their jobs.
Right.
But now they're actually trying to work another 1 or 2 to try and catch back on. So primarily it's the timing of these parents to actually look at what's there, look at the manual so that they can better raise their children. What are some of the things we could actually put in place? And I'm sure maybe NCFC would think about, yes, this to deter the fact that parents are not necessarily going to it. What are some of the things that we could do to try and get parents? Is it in the workplace you think we should do something? What do you guys think?
So we have tried different methods in the past, trying to reach parents where they are.
Yeah.
So we've done some sensitization on the manual. In the workplace, we've been to like Central Bank, we've been to the port. So we've tried to go where there are a lot of people, and hopefully the staff would come in. And we did have some people participate. And I know that we did have a program where we were reaching people via text messages. So we were sending little tips. Checking in, especially those parents who are part of the COMPAR, the community programs for human development. And so, we tried to use whatever
Different
resources
techniques.
we've had. We have a parenting tips booklet that was developed in partnership with Youth Enhancement Services.
Okay.
And that has, I think it's 41 tips for parents, just little quick things that you can scroll through, and it's also organized by age. So, different age has different issues, and so it's just different things that we try to do to reach parents, and hopefully, the information is there, it's just for them to access it.
And utilize it as well.
Well, we also have Rosie May. Rosie May is on. There she is on screen with us. Rosie May is actually a member of the National Parenting Task Force. Rosie May, good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
All right, so let's you're a part of this task force. Let's talk a little bit about the task force and what people can expect from the task force.
Based on what was said, I kind of miss what the other two ladies were discussing. But the task force primarily is to get the message out there to our parents, we have the different groups that are, as a question you said earlier, how do we get to the parents? We have, for example, on the education side of it, where our preschool parents are crying out for guidance, and we do in the past meetings, sessions with our parents throughout the country of Belize. So that was one way of us getting the information out to our parents. And as Mrs. Smith said earlier, the parenting task force task was going out into workforces where we met with parents on the job force, sharing this information. And it was amazing to know that listening to our parents, especially the males, the fathers, like, I thought I was doing something good, but oh, I need to make some changes.
Yeah.
There's some of the changes I need to make my family better.
Yeah. And you know, it's not complicated. And that's a really great point, because I think maybe if I were watching this and I'd never seen a parenting manual, I think my fear would be I'd just read everything that I'm doing wrong. But there are some things people get right.
Right.
Or that maybe they're doing it with the best intentions, but there's another way that works better.
Yes.
Tell me about some of those moments that you find with parents. I do genuinely believe that the majority of parents out there, we know we have some horrible situations, but the majority want the best for the children.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that when it comes to parenting, I mean, we all, like you said, we all do it with our best intentions, but because of maybe our environment, the way we were raised, that's all we know. And so we might, looking at the guide, it might be putting a mirror towards you, and you have to take some time to reflect on, okay, so I'm not doing it this way, but maybe I can try. And there are different methods in there, because like we said, everybody is unique. So we have different methods of discipline, we have different methods of talking to your children, and even when it comes to like sexual reproductive health, like things that you know that you will definitely encounter as they grow up. Different ways to speak to them, what to expect, some questions that they might have, the way you feel about certain situations as well, because you have to also look at your own, what you feel is moral, what are your ethics, and what you believe in, and the things that you want to share, but also understanding that your children will be out there in the world and they will be learning things that you might not agree with. So how do you deal with that? So those are some of the conversations that you not only have to have with your children, but you have to have with yourself, with your partner, with the rest of the family, because we're all raising. It's not just, for the most part, you have a small support system or a large support system. We're all helping you raise this child, and you have to have this conversation with them too.
I want to add to that too, is that years ago, or in my time, or we older folks, I may say, that the communication with our parents were never the way it is today. From the 4 or 5 year old, the conversation they're having with their parents is so different from back then. So that continuous conversation and having the guide and going to these sessions, kind of more younger and younger parents are finding it a little more easier to discuss certain things with your children.
One of the things I always say though is actually the buy into a process. If we can buy into a process and know that it's working for us, then we will continue to walk the line, which brings me to ask, how do you gauge from the task force or from the manual that you're actually doing the right thing, especially if you weren't brought up like that? How do you gauge this?
So for right now, it's going to be hard for us to say, okay, we're making a difference. I mean, we might not see an impact for some years from now. But our hopes is, I guess we look at the number of people who participate in the training, and we get feedback.
Right, and we ensure that we keep the communication so that, there are sometimes, in parenting, things would come up and that's not in our guide, and then they would like for that to be in the guide, and
Yeah.
so we can always ensure that we touch every little area
Yeah.
within that
Yeah.
guide.
And parents will know either work or it didn't, right? The kids enjoyed it or they didn't too.
Yeah, and when Miss Rosie May mentioned looking at fathers, we forgot to mention that we're also working on a fatherhood group.
Nice.
So we want to get fathers, whether you're a single father, you're married, you're with your partner,
Or father figures.
or
Right.
father figures, those who aspire to be fathers. We want to get
Their feedback to be
Yes.
a part of the group, and of course, the more fathers we get, the more information
More better
we
it
are.
is, yeah.
Right.
yeah. So right now we're working on a small group in the city, but we also want to expand.
Yeah.
Throughout the country.
countrywide.
Right.
And how can fathers be a part of it? There are a lot of fathers who are very passionate about their children. How can they be a part of it?
They can contact us at
Yes.
NCF.
And then
NCFC.
follow the Facebook and Instagram pages, because usually before we have one of our fatherhood forum, we would post a flyer, and then we have the contact information where you can contact us for more and to see where and what time and
All right, so let's talk about Famili then.
Yeah.
Sure, Mr. Mangar, go ahead.
Just a quick plug in here, since we are talking about the fathers, and we know that Father's Day is coming
Right.
up. We the members at NCFC and the Parenting Task Force is having a little competition, a video competition for all fathers to show how they are very much involved in the lives of their children. So I just wanted to push that there since we were talking about that.
it's on the Facebook
Thank you very
page.
much, Ms. Rosemary.
It's on the Facebook page?
Yes.
All right.
She didn't miss the opportunity.
No,
for
she
that.
makes sure
There
we take
you
that.
go,
Yes, man, I
right?
can't blame her.
No, but and that's it. When we talk parents, we have to keep on reinforcing that's mom and
It's
dad.
mom and dad and
Yeah.
everybody that surrounds that particular family. That is how we can raise these children the right way. And I'll tell you
So.
that if we've got everybody a part of it, the children know how to share that love as they grow.
Right.
no? So let's talk about with family. Let's talk about the episodes, how many episodes, and how we could actually get it. It don't start already?
No, not as yet.
man.
That's why we're building the anticipation
That's
for
right.
it. So it premieres on June
So June
23rd.
23rd, right here on Channel 5, and it's going to show at 8 p.m.
Okay.
So that's the first premiere,
All
June
right.
23rd, Thursday. That's next week Thursday.
So give us a sneak peek. What can I expect as a dad who, I feel maybe I'm doing the right things. Maybe there are a few things that I need to brush up on. I'm anxious. I want to see these episodes. What can I expect from the show?
So we're following the story of a Belizean family, a single mother with 4 children, but she also has her brother, Uncle Pablo, who is there to assist her. And the children are different ages, so we have different issues that we're talking about. Like Ms. Shakira mentioned, we're talking about homeschooling and how that's affecting the children during COVID. We have cyberbullying. We talk about having your
Child
menstruation, and how the parents are dealing with this and how even interacting with other members outside the family and some of the issues that maybe the neighbors and friends are going through, and coming back to looking at, okay, well, they could handle it this way and how can we help them, to see a better way. But we didn't want it to be a straight-on educational show where, okay, we're giving you facts. We wanted it to be more entertaining. And so the way the production team did it, we really fell in love from the first episode. And, they were really open to some of our suggestions and how we can tweak it. But they basically used the guide as their guide for the show.
And make it a lot realistic to a Belizean family and the Belizean setting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there is 2 seasons.
Okay.
The first season has 6 episodes, and the second season has 7 episodes. And as I had mentioned, it's going to first premiere next week, Thursday, June 23rd at 8 p.m. It will also be live on Facebook and YouTube.
That's right.
So tune in. There's
Yes.
a lot.
I want to see the commentary, because I think it's interesting when you think of talking about the issues are similar and sometimes the same that we face in families, and people will all have an opportunity to be able to say, okay,
Yes.
I'll try that. That works for me. You'll probably get some I don't agree with that as well.
That's fine.
But that's great for
okay. You're right,
conversation.
right.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And it's a time, it's a time whereby you can sit, the time is you should be finished giving the children food to eat and getting them ready, finished with homework and whatever, and take that little time to sit down as a family and enjoy the show.
Wow.
Right.
So it's going to be every
Thursday.
every Thursday?
Right.
At
All
8 p.m.
At 8 p.m. live right here on 5.
Yes.
Whoa.
And streaming on Facebook and
Streaming
YouTube.
on Facebook and
YouTube.
YouTube. This is a great opportunity for everybody to learn new ways or new things, or learn, I would say, the right way of how to provide for your children. And one of the things Marlene taught me here, I'll tell you this much, and she knows that I am passionate
Oh, that
about
makes
my
me
family.
nervous.
Your children are not your property.
Right.
You're a conduit for them to
Right.
move on in life.
Right.
And this show would provide that for you.
Exactly so.
Man, I can't wait. 8 o'clock, you say, right?
8 o'clock.
Thursday.
Thursday.
That means every Friday you could give a recap of the show, right?
Well, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. But we're so thankful that you guys joined us this morning. It's very important to have this conversation, anything that has to do with parenting. All right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Ms. Mangar, thank you so very much. We want to say a big thank you as well to Shakira, to Sheena. You guys do enjoy.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having us.
All right. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's going to be a conversation with UWI Alumni Association as they're hosting their Pelican Market. What a Pelican Market? They'll tell us when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.